Man, let me explain something to you. I was explaining to this guy. You see, in the movie Boss Fights, when I was fighting in martial arts, and I was the Buddha looking like the Dalai Lama a certain type of way at the time, right? And then at the time when I came down with my, my foot, my 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 hand blade sword, and then it was like a bow and arrow. It was like I'm the real Orion and Orion, and the real Orion and the real Orion, and also the real Osiris. But it was like a hand blade sword. And then as I'm cutting through the individual's black knife and stuff, because you gotta remember, if he had a disease, the disease would expose his inner. If I'm not refining the astrological tree, the handle on the knife was like the disease that he already had in his hand in his habitation, and he was trying to handle it. So I literally cut through it, and then sent it away because he didn't need that type of situation in his habitation. So I sent him away a certain type of way. It's just like when I was in Coney Island Hospital, and then I was with the Ming family watching well, not with the Ming family, but I was watching a movie concerning, I'm the head of the star of all the astrological tree of all the Mings, the literal reason of their habitation and existence and the continuous of the reality, because I'm their real dad of all of them, all through every generation that comes out. There's nothing new under the sun. All enlightenment, learn your education. So I'm just being real. So individuals at a time and stuff, right? So individuals at a time, uh, when I was with the Ming family, I was somewhere doing some martial arts of a high regard one time, and then an individual tried to stab me a certain type of way, but because of my education, I was able to regard my habitation a certain type of way. But because of that, I'm the real Houdini, so I would never be a part of something like that again. Because I tell an individual, like, if a person separates you from your habitation or separates you from your family, what are they cutting off at a time from your circulation a certain type of way? It's just like if I'm away from my family and my family's not next to me, if somebody tries to move me and I'm the head of the reason of the consciousness, the reason why my wife's circulation of her habitation to her physics could circulate so she can have her magic and her force and her might. If we're not together or around, it causes a disillusion and deterioration, because if a person's fucking up your habitation, you ain't gonna know precisely, because you'll be running around like a discombobulated body until you get to the real habitation, and then you'll notice what the individual is really doing to you, and then you have to be able to repair it and do certain measurements if an individual is able to hold on at a time, because at a time when I come through, it will be like saving your life. Literally, because I'm the beginning of the reason of the consciousness of the reason why you have intellect at the time. So, if a person does something a certain type of way, one has to be able to really regard themselves. So I was telling the individual, just like one time in this movie with the Mings, I was doing martial arts by the beach, with individuals showing them handle, and it's just like with other individuals telling them I didn't want them to get free rides like the way the horses, because if a person stole horses and then they misused the horses, or people was taking rides on their horses, it would be misguiding their sacredcy at a certain time, a certain type of way, when one's natural current. So I didn't want individuals to get caught up in a situation, because it would prevent individuals from ever being in danger. And on top of it, if a person has some type of form of higher regard of the physical and physics at a time, it won't go off and cause the death of one's reality, just like getting into a vital reality where your life is saved, even when it comes to car accident or some, it's the same thing. It's just an individual wouldn't realize what I was doing in physics at a time, so their stupidity caused the reason why I just went further and just continued hanging my family, because another individual didn't really know, and they didn't really know why I was doing the education. They thought it was for something stupid until they really realized their physics. So the same thing with the individuals in boss fights. So when I was doing something, I'm the real Houdini, so let's cut it off again. So same thing, I'm the real Houdini, but the same thing in individuals in boss fights. When the individuals handling certain individuals, remember, a person not refining an astrological tree, the inner intent, it becomes like a vampiristic situation because a person needs the resuscitation. So if they're holding on for dear life, it causes like a vampiristic emotion where even the vein or the circulation will show you that it needs some type of circulation and it'll bulge out. Like if a person's cutting off his circulation, the vein will show itself that it needs a certain type of circulation. It'll show the boldness of the situation, and then one would have to be able to resuscitate the situation for continuous rejuvenation of the physical reality. Now, if you have an individual at a time trying to cut you off from the resuscitation, it's just like the things that happen even in boss fights. The individual in physics didn't realize what he was handling was already too much for him. That would have killed him because it was a black knife that would have absorbed his habitation. That was even more detrimental, even on a higher level of mythology. And he didn't know what he had, so I just used my hand blade bow and arrow, my hand blade bow and arrow, not bow and arrow, my hand blade boomerang knife. And I just cut right through it. He was my golden hand blade boomerang knife, and I cut right through it. I'm training, and then I just continued with the martial arts because I did away with the thing that was exposing. Because I'm the head of the astrological tree. So if a thing was exposing the head of the astrological tree, what was he handling a certain type of way that was causing the explosion that would have tried to get rid of his consciousness, and he didn't even know who an individual was according to the time of when we were having the natural hand-to-hand combat a certain type of way, but it was called natural regard for me, but he thought it was hand-to-hand combat, that we were having a certain type of way, close and personal, because the things that he was doing was leading up to him showing that he was mishandling himself, and I showed him that I had nothing but value at the time, and I was precisely handling myself. So in the physics, even in boss fights, an individual saves an individual's life because it's like a vampiristic situation. If it needs resuscitation, it's going to show itself a certain type of way. So the blunt physical reality of the individual, of the vein, the vitalness, was already showing itself a certain type of way with the individual's physics at a point of high regard. So it would have showed what an individual was doing a certain type of way. It's just like if a person caused entrapment, it's going to show the entrapment a person caused in any type of way. So it doesn't even matter. So it's just like a person that does something stupidity a certain type of way that didn't realize that I was helping an individual, it's the same thing. It's just like I tell an individual that sometimes a person when they realize what they had, is just like I told all my children in China and all my children in other parts of Asia. I said, when you're having a child and reconditioning my habitation to continue for my love, if it wasn't meant to do something like that, don't do it. If you are having one, have one at a time. Don't have a bombardment and go crazy because you feel I'm not around, and go have some pillaging fest and then cause the more traumatic experience when it comes to my wife, the real empress, the celestial, the inner celestial empress, or inner point of reality, or the inner celestial empress, the outer celestial empress, or the ancestral empress, the celestial empress, the astrological empress, the super empress, the mega empress, the quantum empress, the highest empress, beyond highest empress, or even of all stars, or star clusters, or astrological constellations, or sacred zodiacs, of all planets, or moons, or suns, or earth, or jewel stones, elements, and or elements, or even of nature within the habitation of the planets. This also is a star. Listen, I had to explain this to my children, even in China, like, if you have a child one at a time. Don't bombard yourself a certain type of way, make it too much for you, and then your attention span is a little too much. Don't let a person, how can I say this, veer you to another type of reality where they want things to be too much for you. So when they're getting at you, it'll be so many type of ways that you don't realize. And in the physics, I was already the head of even the martial art temple of individuals. So the things that was happening a certain type of way at a time for individuals' physical reality would have been more enormous to the habitation that was just living regular settling life. So individuals had to be acknowledged with what was going on and how real their habitation to I am, and the dignity, and how real I am in the paradigm of time, handling all realities, even when the physics and physical, and even when it came to showing you one's athletic real reality of one's acknowledgement of one's or rising of one's conquer. So, of one's physical. So, same thing in physics. An individual, when he's doing something, what has to be shown. It's just like one time I was watching Star Trek. I bought a Kenmore television, and I was watching Star Trek, but Captain Kirk was with a horror in space. Now she's already the dark matter that's not even supposed to be on the level of space because her habitation of her physical, and she was on a spaceship. Something was going on that episode with Klingons, and next thing you know, I got something happened. I was on a phone call. I was making a documentary about something else I viewed, and then I was upset about something, and then I literally just, I just brushed the television. Like I was mad at what I said. I can't believe my hand was so close to the television. I brushed off the screen a certain type of way. Like, oh man. And Captain Kirk and them was in space on the spaceship, and they cracked the screen. It was a flat screen television. It was a Kenmore flat screen television. It cracked the screen. But why did that happen? Because the individual, what they were already doing, it was an episode where they were going at a space law, but I think it was like the astrological tree of me being Osiris, but the children of the habitation a certain type of way in other places that were checking on certain things, and then a horror, they were already collapsing the social economics inside the planet, that people doesn't even do things like that on the habitation until these people got there because they landed on a planet, and then they had tricorders and spaceships, and they were beaming things and all type of things, and then when they got onto the plane, then the Klingon situation, and then a horror was, speaking certain type of ways. Scotty was doing certain type of things. The other Asian guy on the television, he was doing certain other type of things. They pressing buttons, all type. Something happened, and then I remember Captain Kirk was speaking to a horror, and I had the thought like, oh, look at this. This chick not even supposed to be in space. She's looking at the astrological Empress consciousness, like she's gonna black out the consciousness if the Empress don't acknowledge her at a time because the depth and probably the Empress is mad, and then this chick is flying around on a spaceship trying to be like the space Empress gunshot. So I'm like, yo, it was a little too much what I was viewing. Like, I got I was in the basement viewing it. I brushed the television screen a certain type of way, and the screen cracked. I said, oh man, how could that happen a certain type of way? Then on top, I just bought the television. I had it probably for like 2 to 3 months, and then that happened. After that happened. I was like, oh man. And then I had to put the television away, and then I started using my old television that I was using before. And then I was like, look at that, I just paid all that money. Sears already tried to rob me also because Sears didn't even want to give me back my money. I don't pay like almost how much money for that television, and they didn't even want to give me back my money. They wanted me to buy other things and purchase other things just to even get my money back. Instead of getting my money back, I had to purchase other things. So I got a television and something. It was like, it didn't make no sense. On top of it, then I had all that money, and then individuals like they didn't want to even give me back my money because the fact is, it was stupidity. So a person was causing a form of discomfort in my reality, but the way they were trying to do it intellectually, like they were just testmating or checkmate in a situation, like they were trying to learn the ins and outs of a situation because of their ignorance of the cause it. But the person that must have been doing it is the person that caused all the ignorance to happen, and then on top of it, they were just trying to get away with it because they probably just trying to switch the reality of what people were saying before, and then me knowing the reality is naturally telling you what's going on. That person was probably fearful, and then all type of situations happened after that. So funny situations, even in life, even at a time with individuals, and then an individual wonder what is going on. Why would something like that happen? Because another person already knew what happened, but they were just setting it up to happen a certain type of way to cause a form of entrapment, of acknowledgement, just to fuck up individuals in life. Because remember, at the time I was in my house. There was people breaking into my house while I'm in the room. The guy was cooking that bad chemistry. There was people breaking into my house at a time in my house that they wasn't supposed to be in my house. There, a couple situations happened a certain type of way. People telling people all type of things, and people didn't want to listen. So I said, oh, you know something? And then on top of it, there was a bunch of chicks that kept on coming in my house without even me being there. Like I kept on hearing, I knew when they were there, but I was just like, and my door was like, so they couldn't break into, because I was home at those times and just people were coming in my house. They couldn't go in my house because I was there, so they was kind of skeptical. But then they trying to make it uncomfortable to the physical reality, and then they were speaking, hearing them speaking through and saying all types of crazy things, and then on top of it, and then chicks I would never be with in the physical reality because they show you if they were doing something that they had foul intentions. So the habitation of their physical must have been foul already. So, I just didn't want to be with them stupid shits. So, it's just like so much things that was happening a certain type of way. A man said, yo, something was a little too much. And then on top of it, the social habitation of the dark matter didn't realize the education of what was going on a certain type of way. And because they didn't realize the education, it's because of things that they already did in the habitation. Then on top of it, the traumatic event is just like a person. It's just like me being somewhere at a time that's supposed to. I'm supposed to have money to be certain places to even receive a form of nourishment for individuals' habitation in the physical reality. If a person's doing some type of form of high acknowledgement or mythology of cleansing or cleansing one's natural habitation of reality, and then me not receiving the nourishment or having the finances or the money at the time, I have it. I'm supposed to have it all the time, but if I didn't have it at the time I was over there, and then next thing people was already watching the things I was intaking because they already went. It's just like, imagine if they were doing some habitation, people in social economic system that was filtering the astrological empress habitation to our earth and just seeing the structure, the cellular structure of the matter within the physical reality. And because I'm taking certain nourishment, they were pleased with certain nourishment because other nourishment was too much for them because it wasn't something compatible with them, and it was showing. Then their ignorance already showed because they didn't want that type of habitation. And then say they knew where the individuals was in the habitation where you would find individuals, and then they went after the individuals. And then on top of it, they just didn't want other people to realize what they were doing. And then when they're doing all that stupidity, is already causing conflict within the natural habitation because you have somebody already from the beginning of the reason of consciousness misguiding the habitation, causing uncomfortability. It's just like this calendar of era that knew about resuscitation when it came to like one's habitation or revivement, even when it comes to physical reality. And the Haitian people, I heard they found out about certain things like that before, right? And then I said, look, imagine a person in the physical reality and physics is using that voodoo magic of like some zombified magic bringing people back, and then didn't know what was really going on with the people a certain type of way. A person ruining the oath of the individual that they're calling because their type of condition of their kinetic conduct of the current reality of what the things that they're doing is already off, and say they were doing it in malicious intentions. It's just like calling the astrological empress at a time, and then you had somebody that tried to abuse her habitation using her, so when she calls her, she would end up like trying to make her a slave to her reality, and then causing the death of even the natural habitation and causing the end of the world. But because she would notice, individuals would be probably getting at her, so they would probably be manipulating her to be comfortable with individuals, certain places, and trying to disconnect her from her reality at times of comfortability, and then causing the end of the end of existence or the end of the world. It's just like somebody coming to find their habitation, and then somebody trying to move or misplace their habitation and is mad because they don't want an individual. They didn't want her realizing certain things, and then she already knows. So then on top of it, a person doing that is just like causing a person that's guiding somebody or calling somebody a certain type of way. If a person's cleansing or cleaning a realm, and then a person has to be blameless for when a person's doing something, but they do something a certain type of way, and then they try to cause the wrong pattern. Just like what happened with Rags and Blade and Shield. The conduct is just like, they knew a form of rape. So their conduct, a naturally current that they were causing, was causing an unsettling emotion with other individuals. It's just like being a person of natural value. And then your inner intent of white people or the cellular structure of white people, it wouldn't be Caucasians because, anyway, white people, And then next thing you know, being around a habitation of white people. That means if you had somebody that already knew a high reality, of a higher quality of value, of inner sacredcy, of the inner habitation, and it was already causing the wrong conduct of the vibrational current emotions, what is going to happen if you get around the social economic setting of those individuals? Is already going to be off. It's going to show us something, and it's going to cause a confusion to another person's reality, because it's going to see, it would be like I'm the real situation individual is supposed to be around. That was supposed to be refining sexually, habitation, and enjoying the natural habitation and quality of the high rise of life, and even when it came to natural living and even humane, high manatee and hyenity and high manatee's condition, or even in the physical reality of one social gathering, even at a time, and then you have another individual at a time that is literally that you weren't supposed to be around. And when the situation showed that I'm the real situation, then you realize that the person was showing you false conduct. And if you continue with that type of influence, because that person will be causing a sickness, so if you continue with that type of influence, it's just a spoiling of your literal anatomy and matter, and then causing your death, and then wondering what happened, and then then that person already tried to show you, oh, it's probably the impression that they try to give you of the natural social economics, playing bad cop, good cop, and they will both be bad cops. And then when you have the individuals that don't even want to know, that is not even a bad cop or good cop, is the individuals, the owner that own the situation that would have never did what they did, then there's another type of situation in life, because now they come up with all type of excuses. Don't you want to know this? Then it's like belittling one's mentality and then causing one's distinction, and then the empress got to worry about the type of physical realities going on with all type of individuals a certain type of way, because the natural ignorance and the things that they're causing when it comes to habitation, and then she be trying to recover in the physical reality because of what other individuals already did a certain type of way in the physical reality because of their stupidity. And then on top of it, then an individual viewing a situation has to be precise even when it comes to the natural quality of one's habitation, because of the natural ignorance that they tried to cause even a certain type of way in the physical reality. So now, I thought I had more money in my pocket. My other money in my pocket was that was my phone, but I think I was the floor. What the fuck is my own money I was in? I had money in my wallet, but where's the money I was in my pocket? So then, funny situations though, and then you don't want a person scheming on one's habitation naturally, and then other things happening, and then it's just a form of a funny type of situation, like the dude rags, then you a form of rapey. If you have people in a unison where individuals fucking up their harmony when it came to natural habitation, there is another fucked up type of situation where a person tell you they're doing one thing a certain type of way, they were doing things more fucked up in the physical reality, a certain next type of way, and then on top of it, the man that's wonderful like me, that just thinks perfect in the physical reality, then you have a part of the cat outside, and then around the cat. The other night, it was below zero. I don't know how many degrees below zero it was. A couple nights. It's been like that for a couple nights. My body temperature naturally felt warm, but it was below zero. So the only people that will be able to survive in that humane condition is only people of certain type of habitation that's natural to the snow and the ice. And then I don't get sniffles, so I'm eating food a certain type of way of the natural habitation, and it's like cleansing the habitation a certain type of way, and it's like I don't eat meat, so the little things that I'm eating, like the little drinks and other things, a certain type of way of individual's acknowledgement is causing a certain type of thing. It's just like, I don't eat meat at all, but I ordered some food. It was some food that I went to go pick up for myself, and then the lady cooked a little eggs in it. I don't eat eggs, so I don't know if you're being real. Like, I don't eat meat, so I don't eat eggs. So it just caused, it was a part of the food the way it was cooked. So, anyway. But it's a difference to the physical reality because I'm a man of wonderfulness. And then on top of it, it's just like, a person at a time. It's just like I told you. It's like if you have white people, a person that's white, or a person causing the wrong type of conduct in current condition because they're jealous of the acknowledgement of the individual of being of real value a certain type of way, and that is already complete, even with them or without them. That's even more like me. I'm different. I have planets inside of me. I make planets naturally. So I could make somebody voluptuous, and when I mean voluptuous, to the precise perfectness of their habitation, where their cellular structure end up like voluptuous. And I only deal with girls that's naturally voluptuous because when they're being fulfilled, it doesn't look out of place a certain type of way. It is already a certain type of place to me. I do it so I'm not doing something for somebody else that was already on their way doing the wrong thing, and I'm not strengthening other people's vibrational current that was already wrong in the physical reality. So good for them, too bad for them. And I just keep it moving. But you have some people at the time that it's just like a person asks me, where are you going to travel to if you want to travel around? I said, I'm not going to go to any white islands because, the white people I was around already, some of them had acted ignorant when it came to the physical reality. Not the Caucasian people were wonderful. Caucasian people, they had the wonderful acknowledgement, but the things that frustrated individuals of the habitation of one's of one's social intent, was different because you had white people that already acted ignorant, and then I'm a real white Caucasian man. So I'm a real Caucasian Asian man, but I'll only look in a form of value because I'm recovering because I'm the real star being of the one's habitation, and I'm a real star. So I have to be of a high my natural higher quality of humility because I'm compacting it. I had to lower my habitation of my allurement of my sexiness. So I had to literally compact it on a level just to be able to heal a certain type of way at a time in the physical reality so people will be able to live at a time. So I had to humble my physical appearance because I'm more higher quality than my physical appearance. So I had to humble my physical appearance for a time for individuals to be able to heal at a level where it would rejuvenate a little faster because the more than I am, it would have took a longer time for other people. It would have been faster for me, but it would have been took a longer time for other people. So if I'm recovering like the insurance of other people, minute levels of life, I had to heal a certain type of way instantly. So I had to humble my physical appearance of the value of myself, showing you my sexiness even still in the physical reality. And then on top of it, when you really see what I look like, is even on a higher quality of love, of real sexiness and handsomeness that a person would be like, if you thought you never seen the life sexiest man of all existence of life, so you can imagine how I look. It's like, oh my God, a girl would be like, I don't cause that type of reality. So even me healing, I just humbled my physical reality to compact. It's like compressing and compacting my habitation so I could heal a certain type of way to save other people and save myself. And then on top of it is at a humble level where a person wouldn't be too jealous when they see me in a physical reality, like how I normally look. A person would be instantly intimidated, like, oh, wait a minute, man, this guy's a real handsome guy. You can't bring these guys and get over. Everybody's gonna be wanting to just get this guy in his household. All day gonna be going. And so I had to humble myself because I knew I didn't want to be irresponsible, but I still wanted to humble my physical appearance. So I humbled my light of myself so I could be able just to be around people and they wouldn't, because I could turn a person on naturally. This is my emotion. So imagine what I really look like. My natural appearance does it naturally. I'm the head of all astrological tree of all love. So my natural appearance does it instant. So I don't do that. So I humbled my reality just to be amongst people in the physical reality so it wouldn't complicate other individuals when it came to regardment. And then I would know. Anyway, don't worry. I don't worry about it. I don't want to explain it. I don't want to explain everything. So, it's just, the reality is just like what ignorance of white people did. Their emotions of their natural conduct of the current was already acting away. So I'm not going to go somewhere where they're in a majority level and then you figure out the individuals that was causing the ignorance are highly wrong, beyond wrong, of what they were doing in the natural conduct they were causing the physical reality. It's like what they did to England. So I'm the head of the Ing family, and even other families of England. So I don't even go there no more. It's just like because of the stupidity of other individuals. So it's like saving a person a form of embarrassment, but it's gonna be bad because a person needs me to save their life for their survival. So if I don't go there, it's good. Before it was gonna be done a form of gracefulness for individuals who have realized that they really needed it, and that I was the reason of the higher quality. But now, if I don't go there, now it's gonna be becoming like a begging situation. Could you please? And no, because the ignorance of the other people and the way they acted in the social habitation caused me just to be on some, yo, man, I'm not even doing it. I'm not even. I'm going to go other places and enjoy myself because if you have the individuals that weren't supposed to be around me, what girls that weren't supposed to be around me in a social habitation, it's just like a school in Chicago of these girls that said girl, girls in the wrong of false habitation in a school in Chicago. It was like a ghostly thing. Like it looked like some type of Michael Jackson Thriller type situation, and then those girls were the ignorance because the wrong things that they already did and stuff, and then they were taking pictures trying to hand individuals books, fucking up everything, like they want to put it on a tray, like they were being sarcastic because the wrong thing because they couldn't get their way and they spoiled conduct, and they're like the hit girls. Those are like girls that was a hit that individual. Listen, girls that just wanted to spoil other pretty girls in life because of their jealous emotions of the wrong things that they already did in the physical reality. You gotta know what I'm speaking about. And it was in Chicago. And the way them girls looked was like they already abused, like they did so much wrong conduct. It showed at a point of physics in their physical reality of their own habitation and what they did was wrong. So it was a difference in the reality. So it was like, at a point, I look at an individual like, you should hear my Sanders chips because I told you about rejuvenation because a person sometimes just needs to rejuvenate a certain type of way. And I'm not going to tell everybody everything, but I'm just telling you how real the situation is anyway. But a person that's committing the wrong conduct a certain type of way in the physical around people, and then when I get around the people in the physical reality, I don't want to be the majority of the ignorance of the world. It's like you ever seen the Hercules movie with the girl with the crystals? One episode with my son from Harris, Helen's, and Hell's my wife because they have an astrological tree when they get together. They make up a certain empress of all space, a certain type of way. So my son that was claiming to be me, I'm the real Zeus. But my son that was a continuance of the dignity was already dealing with Hercules a certain type of way, and on top of it, they were coaching each other because they needed to continue living for their mentality of for they want to cause ignorance, so they want to cause them wanting to live for another day. So me not being there, they had to literally coach each other and be there mentally for each other to give each other some form of speech and show certain things or individuals that form a care in a certain type of way. And then there was a girl that wanted to take over a habit, like wanted to take over their habitation that was causing the complication within their life all over the place that was just manipulating their reality when it came to physics. It's just like a bad instructor. And it was this girl named Liv, but she broke herself up in the crystals, showing you that she was abusing the astrological empress of the crystals. So in the Hercules episode, there was a television show. In the Hercules television show, she broke up into a million pieces, and she was never a certain type of way. But she tried to get her reflection. It was the biohazard debris of her physical reality that she was trying to spread out a certain type of way because she's just saying that she was going to haunt people a certain type of way for the things, because she couldn't get her way because the bad acknowledgement they caused. And then, because she did the bad things, and then the person I didn't want to be with her in life, that she was going to try to haunt everybody's life a certain type of way to cause a fucked up situation. Now, that chick was like the original Sailor. Like, for real. That was supposed to be, she was supposed to be the original real Sailor. She was the original real Sailor that was supposed to happen. But because of the situations, a man didn't, I can speak like that because I was the husband. But I already know, so it's up to my wife. But it's just like, I don't say nothing because she tried to spoil and cause false acknowledgement when it came to the higher consciousness of the higher reality of the reason of a habitation and the reason my wife wanted me to even make another wife, just to even have another wife in the physical reality. So being able to do certain things, she did the wrong type of things when it came to conduct. And I was a person that was perfect. And the only reason that happened, it was because the mishabitation of other individuals, their continuous through time, that caused the wrong social economic pressure of the environment of inequality, because another person was out of place all the time. Because it's like going to a state another social economic system just to go retrieve a form of letter of regard just to reflect a certain type of way, and then the person just kept going over there hanging out when they weren't supposed to be there because the natural habitation was making them sick. But a person just disregard because they just there by themselves and they just want to continue going over the place, and they don't understand the reason of the humility of the physical reality. So she caused the spoilness to the habitation and almost caused controversy between my wife and other people because my wife was her elder of her educator, and then next thing you know, she couldn't even be a certain type of way because when I conducted the situations to make sure it was perfect. So me leaving my wife, so my wife already had other things, and I don't really want to get into the physics of certain things, but she was already the wrong chick in the physical reality of certain things because she caused the wrong type of conduct even when it came to her acknowledgement. Now, there was two lives. There's another live that's even more prettier than her, and then on top of more wonderful, the reason of the word live. But the other reason why they call live the parallel reality is because when she tried to kill my wife of love, and she tried to kill my jewel empress of love, and also went after my wives of love a certain type of ways at different times that had nothing to do with the jewel empress or her inner points of enlightenment, it showed she was already wrong. So because of that, I just stopped dealing with them. So a certain type of way, and then the physical reality of the situation, and then Rags, he looked like an individual. He already was educated in ninja element science, so in the physics. And on top of it, if he had learned something about the ice galaxy pupils, it would have made the situation even more complicated because he would have blended into the ice galaxy, and then that was one of the reasons, really to tell you the truth, that I had to save the Superman planet the first time, because the purity of their consecration was being infiltrated by the individual because he was trying to be me, Zeus, and he was the fake Zeus, and then he was trying to cause the wrong type of acknowledgement. And then I had to literally save their consecration to their holiness, to their purity, because he was spoiling and causing the death of the planets and the intent of the natural habitation, because the high receptiveness of the physical reality. So because he was already killing the nerve, because he was raping and pillaging people without people realizing what was going on. But the way he was doing it, nobody would have seen it, because if you would have checked his physics, he was a person that knew martial arts, he would have disregarded you. So if you would have checked his physics, it would have shown a certain type of way at a time. So he went through the physics on certain levels and channels, manipulating people's physics, because he knew literal element science. And I tried to tell individuals that this nigga is a real, the guy, I'm a wonderful man, but the nigga Rags was a real dangerous man. But he was trying to cause identity theft at the time with his mother, because they were trying to get away with the things that they already did, and it was just showing their natural habitation was going bad because they wasn't living up to the acknowledgement of purity of their light, of having the high receptiveness of the literal anatomy of the reality. So it caused a bad situation, and then him trying to coexist with individuals at a level of intricateness, or individuals of a level of habitation, like even white people, it causes easy distortion because the way he manipulated their physics and causing the wrong type of impression or pressure on their physical reality, and then on top of it, conducting the wrong type of, I don't want to get into the science, I don't want to get into the physics. Too bad other people should have listened to me. They didn't listen to me, and look what happened. Just like it became on television. I was over there I was over there viewing something a certain type of way. Something happened. Another person tried to cause entrapment because they didn't want people realizing what was going on with me. I tried to warn individuals about the situation. I tried to tell individuals earlier I was saving individuals, but another person just wanted to live because they wanted to discredit me because they wanted my finances. because they want to manipulate everybody and just die. It's like if a person not receiving some type of love, you got a miserable person that's received that wants to kill everybody. It's like because they never received it. So if a person has it naturally, they didn't want another person to have it because they couldn't be a part of the wonderfulness of the individual because they were already wrong. So they were going to cause a detrimentalness to even people that wasn't even in the physical yet, and then trying to cause the wrong conduct to their physical, and then causing their death. And when their physical is supposed to be another type of way, or the physical reality, that person was causing the scarceness and the manipulation that was causing the more distortion to their reality where they couldn't even save their own habitation. So you gotta be careful with that type of individual. It was rap legible and shield. Chicks named H.A. and live, but the jewel empresses are supposed to already put it one way, and I'm not sure. Yeah? These psychotic people, you see? Speaking about that physics. And then look. And then my kids, they were trying to, these are people that were barren. Their mothers were barren, so that means they were going around killing kids or trying to be a part of nourishment a certain type of way, trying to get to somebody else's astrological tree nervous system for they could say that they had something a certain type of way. So when they were filtering the mythology realm of the higher consciousness of the book, that it would have looked like they were having kids, but they didn't have kids. They were barren, but they were just fucking up the nervous system of other people, and on top of it, trying to steal their nourishment. Because if they started doing martial arts and started training certain individuals, because they tried to invade Shaolin Temple before, they almost killed the Shaolin Temple empresses. So they almost tried. So even in the Ming, and then on top of it, if they and then once they got around the Ing family, it was a wrap. There was other. They tried to side with Ice Galaxy, the Lightning Calendar. There was so much calendar galaxies, other things that they tried to side with. They're trying to fuck up their life through time. Listen, they were the cause of the real reason, the cause of the fall of Era, and the real reason that I couldn't educate you because Era was such an enlightened calendar. It was so wonderful until what they did. So I was like, that was it. So then, because what I was teaching Era was too vital for them to even acknowledge that type of wrong social economic behavior. So then, then next thing you know, it's just like if a person she was already barren. She was trying to get into other people's astrological tree, their nervous system, to fuck up their nerves at times at a little point of irritation, and then say this is for like, how a person said like the Aries calendar, you gotta get angry. You don't gotta get angry to be in the Aries calendar. I don't gotta tell you, man. Too bad. But you gotta be all time. They used to tell you certain people, they used to be like, oh, I'm gonna do this for you, this, or, and then they were just trying to learn their magic so they could just do some identity theft or some nervous system theft or manipulation so they could continue existing in the calendar, and then really causing on a level after a certain time limit, causing a biohazard debris. So once she already linked into the system of their habitation a certain type of way, if she would have went on vacation for like 30, 50 years, soon as she come back, it would have been like an instant disease, instantly, wow. And then she would have been calling you like this whole, like, it would have been like the casino call. You remember how my wife, my wife Sharon, she's not Sharon Stone. That was literally Julia Roberts. She used to call my wife because they say Sharon Stone and Julia Roberts is two different people. It was Julia Roberts. So she'll call my wife Julia Roberts and be like, oh, you see? You got mine, and then you see how the guy was talking to the baby inside the movie, right? With the daughter, shut up! He's telling her, shut up! You don't tell them the things that the guy was doing because the energy he was already indulging in was already causing, he couldn't tell the difference of reality, and it was making it comical because a person wanted a person mind to be cynical, or how can I say this? There's a parallel reality of the word, but I'm not gonna tell you because you don't need to know. But I'm just being real. The way she was going about it was already causing consequences. So she would have had somebody's biological system after doing so much to a person would have never known. She would have had somebody's biological system on such a nervous that it would have caused the outbreak in their habitation, and it would cause the demoralization and deterioration in the physical reality. But she wasn't gonna tell anybody that. She was just trying to get into the link into this situation just for a moment of pleasure. And then the first thing she was attacking was the vitalness of the physical reality. So how would she spoil something? So she would instantly go after the vitalness in a form of high manipulation, right? So you better. I'm telling you the real. Yo, listen. I'm telling you so real. A person, I tell you, listen, man. What I'm telling you so real is to save your life. For real, save your life. She'll tell you something. I'll bring you down to a level just to save your life on same time as me. But she'll tell you something. It'll be to manipulate and cause your death. It's a difference with it. But she don't even like. It's like at the time she already got my nervous system and my other astrological trees nervous. So they want me to. She wants to do things to make my physical reality uncomfortable, but she can manipulate. She was trying to learn how to doctor the main empress of the earth. But she was gonna blow her brain. I got shot and I'm recovering from a gunshot and boogie night on my head and my chest. Wait till you realize what I'm speaking about. Love one, man. I can't speak about certain things anymore. And I'm the real Abbot White, and also the real Buddha from Shaolin, and also Ming himself. Love one. If Mings was winning, they call me nice. Love one. Even if the Ings won, or the Ice Galaxy, they call me nice. Love one. I'm the East himself. Sovereign, sovereign master. Read and reflect.